Welcome, come and watch till the end. High school party opens the film. MIT admits 17-year-old Rhoda Williams, celebrating with her beau. After observing Jupiter's quick succession in a NASA Journey photo, she fell in love with space research. Rhoda feels unstoppable. She drives drunk late at night, listening to the radio report that a new planet with a moon like Earth has emerged in the solar system. The planet surprised scientists. The radio tells listeners to gaze north to see the planet, which is visible from Earth. Rhoda drives fast when inebriated. A 3-person family is in a roadside automobile. The parents giggle when the child calls his robot Bob. The mother is pregnant while they converse. Rhoda's vehicle strikes them, ending their chat. She is aware. She exits her automobile to find the couple asleep in the other car. She turns around and finds the child lying motionless on the ground. Police sirens sound as the screen turns dark, revealing the newly discovered planet. Rhoda is arrested and displayed in a cell. 4 years later, Earth 2 is now closer to Earth and looks like a copy, according to a news source. Earth's surface now shows it. From the telescope, its continents, seas, and cities seem like Earth's. Scientists received radio signals from the planet. It remains undeciphered. Some scientists think the planet is a cosmic mirror mirroring Earth. Rhoda leaves jail 4 years after the disaster. Her parents bring her up after her first outing. Her brother discusses an essay contest sponsored by rich entrepreneur Keith Harding, who is sponsoring the first space journey to Earth 2 when discussing the second planet. The most motivated citizen gets a free ticket. Rhoda returns home and checks her room. She no longer likes the place or herself. The second Earth in the sky fascinates her. Rhoda then checks up the United States Enterprises program her brother mentioned on her laptop. She must submit an essay explaining why she wants to travel to get the civilian ticket. She looks at the laptop without typing. She moves to the attic and proclaims it her new room. A night sky image decorates her bedding. Rhoda applies for jobs the next day. As an ex-convict, she cannot attend MIT or any other college. Rhoda wants a job without people, but the office woman gives her one. She janitors at her former high school. The following day, she becomes a janitor. 4 years after the accident, Rhoda investigates the tragic junction. Automobile stops close and a guy exits. Rhoda recognizes the man from the other automobile. She is astonished since she believes she murdered everyone. In commemoration of his kid, the dad drives away with a robot toy in the pool. Rhoda hurries home and checks the case on her laptop. He is John Burroughs. The vehicle tragedy killed his wife and kid, but he was in a coma. He woke up years later and has lived alone since. She believes he left Yale's music faculty after additional investigation. She takes his address and meets him tomorrow. She watches him drink in his dirty living room through the window, unsure what to do. Snowy night. Rhoda is upset by her guilt and John's condition. She gently undresses on snow. She lays nude and shivering. As she sleeps in the cold, her hypothermia blue fingers gazing at Earth 2. Black screen. She lays in a hospital bed next. She was rescued from the cold. Her fingers are hurt but not deadly. She prepares an essay to apply for a ticket to Earth 2 after returning home. She writes that madmen, misfits, and orphans were the subjects of prior experiments, not nobility. As a criminal, she feels she is the best candidate for this experiment. After completing her essay, she buys candy at a grocery store and runs into her high school sweetheart. He admits to business school and presents her to his girlfriend. When Rhoda says she is a janitor, he seems uneasy. She leaves without the candies, humiliated by her existence. Rhoda visits John again because she has to apologize. She knocks on the door but is too frightened. Instead of confessing to killing his family, she pretends to be a Maidenhaven maid on a free trial. John agrees to let her clean the home after months of neglect. Rhoda accepts the falsehood because she is too invested. John sees her inspecting a telescope while cleaning. After she finishes, John, unaware of her identity, invites her to clean again next week. Rhoda practices telling John the truth all week. However, uneasiness returns when she knocks on his door. She cleans his home again without speaking. She starts seeing him weekly. John seldom speaks to her. Rhoda and her family watch a live broadcast of a scientist attempting to contact with Earth 2 one night. She gets a signal and discovers that the scientist from the other world is chatting. She shares her name, date, location, employment, and childhood recollections. Worldwide amazement. Everyone now thinks Earth 2 is a mirror world with the same population. Rhoda leads her residents to see the planet and moon. News has sparked a major discussion about truth and lies. Physicists believe Earth 2 is a perfect replica of our world, including its population. Some think we may meet and converse to our identical twin who has had a different life. John and Rhoda like space science. Rhoda accepts his telescope. They play video games and seem to be dating. John takes Rhoda home. John and Rhoda become closer each day. They eventually discuss the first Earth 2 trip. Rhoda informs him about the article she wrote, but John is suspicious about the excursion. Since humans still think they are the center of the universe, he says they are not ready to acknowledge their uniqueness. When Rhoda washes his wife's sweater, John becomes furious. He furiously orders her out. A radio discussion warns of Earth 2's perils. Some think a battle between worlds is likely since Earth 2's inhabitants have comparable weaponry and are suspicious. John's automobile greets Rhoda at home. She accepts his apology for his past actions. He demands she accompany him. He performs a new style-based work for her at a university auditorium. The performance strengthens their bond. They return to John's. Sex follows. John informs her about his injury and years-long coma afterwards. Rhoda refuses to inform him. Rhoda's brother informs her the spaceflight phone when she gets home. She phones back and is astonished when billionaire Keith Harding answers. He informs her she won the essay contest and will go to Earth 2. Rhoda brags to John. After praising her, John encourages her not to go since they are getting along. He fears Rhoda's future. She realizes she cannot lie to him forever. She ultimately confesses to causing the disaster that night. John's dumbfounded. He sits down and begs her to go. News media surround her home as she returns. Since her fortunate ticket circulated, people are digging into her background and advertising the accident. Her father saves her and takes her inside. United Space Ventures gives her an Earth 2 ticket. Rhoda hears a scientist's idea on TV a few days later. He claims that before Earth 2 became apparent to us, its inhabitants lived a mirrored existence. 4 years ago, the incident altered people's actions and maybe their futures. Rhoda now doubts her mirror self on the other world caused the disaster. She runs to John's home with the airline ticket, but he would not let her in. Rhoda slips into his residence via the window, determined. John chokes her after seeing her. He wrestles her free. She gets up and tells him the hypothesis she heard. She says his family may still be alive if the catastrophe never occurred. Rhoda gets him the ticket to locate his wife and kids on Earth 2. Rhoda resumed her usual life. She feels better after apologizing to John. Rhoda watches John in an interview before the shuttle launches. He accepts her offer and goes to Earth 2. Rhoda walks home from work 4 months after the first shuttle blasted off and is shocked to see herself from Earth 2. The movie finishes with two identical Rhodas staring at each other. Thanks for watching. Watch another video. Welcome. Come and watch till the end. Our film begins in a park. Midnight Seoul. A girl searches for her doll. She spots a huge creature. Wandering between buildings, the girl yells as that screen goes dark. 25 years later, Gloria returns to NYC. Home from partying, her boyfriend Tim is tired of her conduct since her firing. Gloria just parties all night and lounges on the sofa while day. He tells her she is a misfit. Disarray and motions to the bedroom with all her stuff properly stored. Tim bounces after saying she'd be gone before he returns. No job, apartment, or lover, Gloria must return. Her rural hometown house, abandoned leaves are covering the earth. No furnishings, so Gloria must sleep floor the first night. The next morning she leaves. Start with air conditioning, mattress and pulling it home. Her old vehicle arrives. Oscar is happy to welcome her home. Gloria hops in the vehicle. Oscar's bar, his father's. Gloria's trying to stay away. Frightened by how much shown alcohol, she scrapes her scalp. Oscar wonders why. It is a nervous tick. Oscar introduced her that night. His pals, he gives her a beer. After 2 days of agony seconds, she casually drinks. Later, predictably, Gloria's drunk. The gang explores the bar. Oscar shows Gloria the partitions he could not afford. He informs Garth and Joel is in elementary school. Gloria always won for short stories. Spring writing contest. Oscar always comes second. She laughs, saying she does not write fiction. Magazine articles. Oscar grabs another beer and Joel attempts to kiss Gloria. Oscar panics, snatches his keys, carries a drunken Gloria home. She slides it through her old elementary playground. She gets home now, mid-morning, and unpacks the air mattress while she sleeps. She dreams of becoming a youngster walking across a woodland. The sky darkens and thunder rolls. A call from her wakes her up. Sister who says, "Monsters attack Seoul. Night." Gloria eagerly opens the door. Articles on her laptop. Film of a huge monster briefly appearing in Seoul. Before leaving, she calls Tim, who asks why she is only moment the assault occurred 9 hours ago. Tim discovers, since she drank all night, and pleads for expert aid for alcoholism. Gloria is drinking tonight, while watching news coverage of Seoul's attack, and she stumbles out of the bar. Darkness and falls asleep. School bench, playground. In the morning, intoxicated, she attempts, call Tim as she stands. He realizes she's drunk, hangs up upset. She drops her phone. Oscar brings an old TV home. They pulled it into an empty living room. He tells her that the monster struck Seoul again yesterday night. Instead of walking like the previous night, location with strange hand movements, monsters always appear at the 805M. Oscar shows her Monsters internet video. 25-year debut in Seoul, one sighting. A hoax. Oscar asks while installing the TV. Heard what they said, she says. She doesn't. Gloria told Oscar about her finances and Tim and Oscar split. Offered her a bar job. Town with monster news. The bar is becoming busier. Nightly to drink. Gloria accepts and thanks Oscar. She sees the monster while hugging. So when bartending that night, Gloria cannot ignore the monster footage on the bar TV. Makes it appear on the phone again, like yesterday night. Home, she searches for more clip of the monster observing. It seemed to be carrying anything as Gloria did. Her mattress home, she wears a jacket and goes to the playground. She compares maps. Seoul to the playground. After a few evenings, monster attacks. Reporters are perplexed. Recognizable monster patterns. Oscar's actions. Pals over cocktails say seems to be run by a distance since the monster never stops moving. Glance down. Gloria's growing. Frightened. She spends days developing her ideas. Mapping souls and monsters. Movements. Map and sober. She attends elementary school. Playground and enters precisely 8:05 a.m. She lifts instead of moving. Before sprinting home, she watches TV at home. Discover the monster exists. Returns to Seoul this time. Buildings it stood and elevated, Gloria-like arms above its head did. She is confident that she's monster terrifying. Seoul calls Tim. They greet Gloria, informing him she has found part-time work job. They are interrupted. Doorbell ring. Gloria forgets she is calling. Tim watches Oscar and Garth pull a sofa before telling her to work. Oscar left work that night. Gloria is drinking with his friends. Impulse tells them. She tells the group. Pull over at the playground. Live soul music. Viewing the live stream. Enters the playground and begins. Dance. Monster imitates her in Seoul. Moves in Seoul now. Helicopters shoot monsters. Gloria still feels it. Inebriated, she hits the air, destroying one helicopter. Gloria discovers in Seoul that recently killed someone. That helicopter and panics, losing her balance and falls. She wakes up at home later, to her TV's destruction. Oscar arrives with groceries. She asks how many people slain last night. Feels awful and wants to go to a police station when Oscar gives her today's newspaper. Last night, Gloria, Seoul saw a mechanical monster fall. Oscar entered the playground to aid her. They eat at a local eatery. Brunch to discuss their situation. Monsters appear only sometimes. She puts Gloria and Oscar together. Latest monster apparition 25. When she was elementary school stroll kid, it was not a playground then. Garbage-filled construction site. Realization causes Gloria's flashback to her youth walking to school with a project and a young Oscar, her projecting the following morning. Playground bench. The clock strikes 805. Oscar tells them he has followed Gloria's career. She left town. Gloria enters the playground at 805, which creates the monster. She apologizes. Korean message on the ground, guaranteeing the monster would not return again. Later that night at the pub, the news rewinds monster footage. Koreans on the ground, and after work, Gloria watches. Oscar's buddies. Gloria chats over cocktails. Joel's leaving to see the bathroom while washing hands. Gloria comes to ask for his home address. Joel takes Gloria home early, arrives soon after. Night and morning together. Gloria sees him on the way home. Robot monster and Sue, taunting Gloria, grabs Joel, and they speed to the playground. Oscar is intoxicated and walking, while watching Live. Soul Flow. Oscar counters Gloria's criticism. His monster has not murdered anyone. She enters the playground, Oscar points out. She smacks him for refusing. Locking their doors that night. Oscar is unhappy and has poor concealment. Footage showing his robot getting hit. He has gone viral. Suspecting Joel and Gloria slept together. So little intoxicated, he berates his pal. Karth says he is a cocaine addict and harsh boss. Fame around. Gloria is not there. Drinking now, worried that she will become intoxicated. Playground. Oscar feels personally attacked, therefore, he drinks a beer and tells her he will drink it if she doesn't. Stroll the playground afterwards. She puts that drink on a floor. Oscar takes his vehicle to play area. Oscar blocks her attempts, screamed at her that for once, her life is still fantastic. She chases him on foot. The playground. 805 she hits him and they fight. Another fight. She then quits her job at the bar, but pushes and threatens her. Gonna return tomorrow stating he will demolish a neighborhood if she skips work. Gloria is attempting to sleep and recalls more 25 years ago. The monster appeared. She walked to school with a cardboard soul model when it blew away. Oscar, her young kid, crosses a construction site fence. After it, Joel rings her doorbell. Doorstep loaded with furnishings. Oscar said they are both embarrassed by her nighttime conduct. Previously, she did not know. Use this, she demands Oscar come home. To explain, Oscar's house has stacks presently. Garbage and beer bottles every surface. He apologizes for hurting her while tearing up. He requests friendship again. She accepts if he stops drinking. Gloria arrives home late at night. Joel has cleaned and adorned her bare living room. Oscar scented furniture. Her phone rings unexpectedly. Tim calls. She stays at the Holiday Inn. Tim introduces her to the apartment. He is there for work. She sees that falsehood. Assuming Tim is jealous, discourse soon becomes Tim's insults. A waitress, she leaves, but Tim stops her. Repentant provides transportation to work. Tim and Oscar at the bar introduce, they drink. Oscar asks him the most irresponsible in a Tim is not sure. Oscar pulls a massive fireworks from behind as consumers flee. Back as it bursts. The bar chairs smoke. Fire breaks various objects, but fortunately that is all. He tells Tim what he did. Most reckless. Nonetheless, Gloria will remain. Bar with him. Tim takes Gloria's hand, surprised. But she resists. Resists, knowing that Oscar will deliver his huge robot to ruin Seoul. Tim issues an ultimatum. He is departing tomorrow at lunchtime. Hopes she will stay. Gloria returns home that night. Her shift and finds Oscar waiting. She tells him over a beer to exit. Yet he rejects it, saying he's ensuring she doesn't depart with Tim. Now lost. Oscar's monstrous leverage. Gloria rubs her head, nervously, but remembers that 25-year-old day. Oscar ascended fence to get that project. Minnie Sue Gloria followed him inside the facility and discovered her project caught in branches and pulled it from its catch. And thinking nobody was watching, broke it. This angers young Gloria. Her rage attracted. Lightning hit her head, her forehead to bleed. Lightning hits Oscar too. They are unconscious. He held a toy robot in her hand. Hands were toy monsters. Resemble monsters in Sue. Gloria knows Oscar dislikes her. Self hates his life, relative to hers. She informs him, and then called Tim. Both grown-ups hear TV alerts. I know 805 is coming. Oscar runs out, but Gloria strikes him with a chair. Attacks her with a torn wood piece. She retaliates by dropping a bookcase on him. Jumps off pool from the upstairs window to the streets. They are racing for playground. Oscar's hitting her hard that she collapses. Stop him from trampling the playground, crushing Seoul neighborhood. Gloria climbs into bed. Bed on the wall, her maps. Seoul playground connection had flipped upside down. making her discover a bag's contents, taxi, and hurries to the airport. Oscar misses her and drinks. Playground, beer after beer, for 805 am, his only time. Controls the robot. Once she hangs up, we realize Soul has Gloria. Alarms signify time. Monsters to emerge. Oscar enters the playground. Soul's robot rampage. Korean citizens flee. Gloria approaches this enormous robot. Oscar's playground return hears distant rumblings. Gloria approaches the robot. The monster has her in Seoul now. Appeared in front of her hometown of Oscar, Gloria chases him forward and grabs air. The robot hovers before her. Unseen hands are grabbing it. Oscar requests euthanasia, but monster hurls. Seoul has thousands of robots. The US body this too. Koreans rejoice considering the robot dead. Afterward, Gloria enters a Korean bar and asks bartender if she wants to hear wonderful tale. Thanks for watching. Watch another video. Welcome. Come and watch till the end. When the satellite fails, something unexpected happens. Against a weird black metal swarm. Jacinda and Marcus get injured by this swarm. Tether. The shuttle pulls Brian's cable, killing him. Brian tries to call Marcus after returning to the shuttle, but the systems are down. He misses the swarm while returning to Earth. Moon holes. Brian saves the ship and is lauded. After a year and a half of research, no one believes him, and Jacinda cannot help him. She was exhausted. NASA fired Brian. Brenda and Sunny live with Brenda's mother after losing their house. Casey Houseman sneaks into the desk computers at the University of California after 10 years as a janitor. He calls Chile's National Observatory as a professor to seek a moon orbit file. He then works briefly as a fast food cashier. He checks the telescope's email. He was right. The moon is nearing Earth. NASA ignores his medical calls. The only public phone line connects to NASA's souvenir shop, not management. Jacinda works early. After instructing Michelle, she headed to the grocery store, visits the Space Center, and finds the moon's trajectory changed. Their moon satellite discovered unusual energy. Crater floor hole. Casey travels to the museum after seeing Astronaut Day on the newspaper his cat peed on. He takes a school trip. Casey argues. He thinks the moon is hollow and alien-built by his owner, who claimed he owed months of rent. Brian escapes via a window and goes to the museum, where Casey quickly presents his discoveries. Since Brian does not trust him, security removes him. Casey says goodbye. Brian catches and throws his study materials. Brenda calls Brian to turn on Sunny. His high-speed police chase grabbed headlines. A few days later, Brian destroys Sunny's hearing by over-talking. He lied for his child. The judge must jail Sunny until the hearing. Brian then calls Brenda's new husband, Tom, who pays the bills, to quarrel. To discuss the counsel. Kate tells his mother in retirement that nobody cares. Listen, so she will not forget. Jacinda shows NASA Deputy Director Albert Hutchings their latest findings. The moon's irregular trajectory means debris will hit Earth in 3 weeks. Will land. Jacinda wants to return to the moon, but Albert wants silence until they find a solution. The request is too late, as an unknown source put the content online. The court denies Brian's bride to release his child. Due to the news, many are departing the city, leaving him little time to communicate. Brian's unaware. Albert announces a lunar probe on TV. No worries, we're scouting. Brenda wants Sunny released, while Tom wants to leave the city. Tom's lawyer will release him to Colorado if he lies. Them. NASA satellites track crowds, riots, and looting globally. Diagnostic SLS Block 2. Post-announcement newscasts examine plots. Big buildings. Brian returns to the museum for trash. After locating Casey's paperwork, he checks Casey's website and finds a meeting he must schedule immediately. NASA sends a probe down the hole. Jacinda's dark swarm comes as the computers show the moon's course altering again. Mission eliminates SLS residents. Brian spots Casey during Casey's hotel conference. Conspiracy thinkers who cannot distinguish truth from nonsense. Brian explains at a restaurant why Casey knew before NASA. Casey has spent years searching faraway worlds for megastructures. Moon surprise. The megastructure inside the moon must have changed course. High seas and storm surges in coastal communities raise concerns about the moon's changing effects on Earth. Conventioneers are stranded by city floods. Brian guards them upstairs. Casey is rescued by Brian. Remove him. The mission video convinces Jacinda and Albert that the swarm is communicating. Smart is AI. Jacinda succeeds Albert, a deputy. This behavior intrigues Jacinda. Albert authorizes her research. NASA's restricted area reveals Jacinda's prior voyage video. Brian was truthful, the swarm that attacked them is still there. Now, NASA veteran Holden Field addresses her questions. Apollo 11's 1969 moon landing was silent. Officially, yes. Mission Control cut the string to conceal the moon. NASA analyzed the moon's flashing lights. Because that technology was years ahead of Earth's, and they were not sure it was real. Prevent it. Money killed Zulu X-Ray 7, a military experiment. Jacinda begs the troop commanders for a solution, but they say they already have one. She warns her ex-husband, General Dove Davidson, against nuclear delivery. Even if the explosion kills everyone, Doug trusts his employees. Dismisses her. She will not leave work to meet him and Jimmy at his apartment. Issues occur. She wants Doug to bring the Zulu X-Ray 7, which has EMP and is their last chance. If she promises to return with Jimmy and Doug, he agrees. Later, Brian takes a military chopper to his hotel. Remove Casey. I do not know what to do, Casey admits as Jacinda repeats what they already know. He uploaded the news. Jacinda wants Brian because this AI swarm can recognize Earth technology. No shuttle pilot has landed powerless. If his child is liberated, Brian agrees. The station safely. The museum gives the team a decommissioned ship. Bring EMP. Unexpected earthquakes and explosions happen globally. Even close, the moon lacks gravity. Casey's megastructure idea was confirmed again. NASA's military teaches Brian EMP launches. Demonstrates how a guide will calculate by hand without a machine. Since technology fails, they will come by automobile. The base earthquake damages the shuttle. Since planes require engines, Jacinda thanks everyone. They labored before leaving. Jacinda leaves when she sees Casey counting. Launching the moon's gravity will approach 80% of Earth's. The moon's gravity can launch a rocket, providing a boost for the damaged engine. Jacinda co-pilots Brian. Casey will navigate and conduct math after shutting off gadgets. Casey calls Jacinda his mama. Michelle visits Doug. Brian arms Sunny. A powerful gravity wave destroys the base as the three launch. Before the spaceship drowns, Brian pulls it away. Enough to lure the spaceship to the moon. Off Earth. Nearby satellites power the ship. Case selfies throughout. Hurry while the moon grows. Brian personally ignites the engines toward the moon. Space debris hit the shuttle. Armed men stop Michelle and the boys on the road. Car thieves. Sunny conceals the gun in the snow before the criminals kidnap him and his friends. Jimmy's phone is stolen to prevent bunker calls to Doug. Sunny gets them a car at his mother's. The moon's proximity worsens falling moon pieces. Michelle and the boys hide in a shack until the weather improves. It goes. After the shuttle approaches the moon, Brian activates the EMP in the rover before baiting the spacecraft. A swarm ignores the rover. Shuttle pursuit. Brian smashes it, fearing the EMP is watching. The swarm attacks the ship. Following the discovery, Brian destroys Casey's phone. Leave now. Jacinda finds that it targeted them, not the EMP. Artificial settings have biological matter. Shuttle flights to the moon take 2 hours. If it failed, the military would launch nuclear missiles. Michelle and the boys arrive when Earth's wind ceases. They were shot outside his home by neighboring gunmen. Tom gets them after hearing they've arrived. Sunny has little time to meet his mother and half-sisters since he needs to urge everyone to go. The fire station provides oxygen tanks for safety. Earth suffers from the moon's atmospheric depletion. Sunny is ready for Jeep thieves this time. Before leaving in Tom's car, he kidnaps someone using Brian's revolver. The spaceship enters the moon's crater following the EMP. Casey was correct. The moon is a huge skyscraper. Power center. The shuttle emerges to EMP the swarm. Moves alone. They escape the swarm when a door opens and a light comes on. Shuttle in, close the door, and leave the swarm outside. The shuttle crashes, knocking out the 3 passengers. The same light scans them as the shuttle opens. After too long, the military is ready to unleash nuclear weapons. Tom fires at the thieves as Sunny stays clear of debris. When the ground opens, Sunny escapes. Doug calls to say he cannot after they depart. After the rocket launch, they must stay. Oxygen depletes and birds die. The family wears masks before walking. Jacinda and Casey wake up to the moon's gravity and breathe. Brian is nowhere. Casey thinks it is a trap, but they leave via the door. One of Jacinda's two spirits is trying to escape. Aid them. Brian awakens in a strange room and chats with an ice ghost. With him like mimicking Sunny to explain. Billion-year-old people enjoy technology. Earth has not considered. Then their AI revolted. Nanotechnology swarms pursue everyone. The moon-like spaceship transported ancestors. Only Earth could support life at the optimal distance from the sun. The moon's AI connecting with Brian needs personnel. To re-orbit the moon, groups must exit the core. Brian flees the strange light as Jacinda and Casey find him. After the AI fixes something, Brian tells his friends about the fight. The EMP is stronger and can destroy the swarm. Brian plans the nukes last 10 minutes. Tom brings his daughter's empty oxygen tank to Earth and tells her to continue. Tom dies without her. Sunny helps the girl locate her family, but not Tom. When air slowly returns, Sunny gets caught by falling stones as the moon approaches Earth. Michelle rushes to help him escape. The moon reunites them when she finds him under a fallen tree. Return to Brenda and the daughters after jumping over the broken bridge. The moon's weight destroys cities worldwide, so the military attacks. Use nukes. Doug hesitates, trusting his wife. Conserves Earth. Bombs destroyed the bunker. Trash too. Brian fools the swarm by building a tunnel and instructing Casey to prepare the EMP in the rover. Since the swarm requires an energy building to survive, he remains with the EMP while his friends escape in the spaceship. Casey leads as Jacinda and Brian dispute. The EMP bound him to the sacrifice. As he departs, he apologizes and asks them to tell his mom he is a hero. Brian respects physicians by calling. After the swarm consumes the rover, Casey explodes. The EMP, which kills it when Jacinda lands the ship on Earth. The moon and weather stabilize once the swarm leaves. Earth's normalized. Jacinda and Brian leave the shuttle for a wrecked and snowed in New York. Military planes return them home. The friendly AI hunting for Casey is talking to Casey on the moon. It maintained Casey's awareness and made him behave like his mother. He can help the AI rebuild for a better future as a moonling. Thanks for watching. Watch another video.